Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Report. We are without Kevin this evening, but it's all right. Kicking it old school. Me and Hassan back at it. Two-man show. How's it going?
Oh man, one of the fun things is it's been a week, man. Like I don't know, like it's
One of the
this
fun
is
things
like
is
yeah,
there's
I
no
mean
fun. There are no fun things.
there are no fun things. I mean, no, well, so like it's been a tough season. I think you and I can both agree, just because we missed on a whole bunch of like key things. I'm still somehow in the playoff hunt and a bunch of things. We're still in the playoff hunt. We're in the FFPC. Um, all things considered, like the bank examiner is going to make sure that my kid doesn't get Christmas gifts this year because of my best ball losses. But outside of that, we're having a good year. Like to me personally, like this is like the best weekend in the entire year. The weekend before Thanksgiving, right? Because it's like you get the holiday week and then you get like Thanksgiving games, and then everybody goes out and goes like on Black Friday, and I get blackout drunk. So it's like it's like the usual shit.
Yeah.
How about you, man?
Yeah, no, a good week for me in some leagues for sure, but well, we'll get into all the things that made it not such a good week, but I think we should start off with one of the positives, which is Devin Achan, who uh, had a pretty good game. Didn't rush that well, but he did score 2 touchdowns in the receiving game. I don't even know what the question is, but like, how close is he to being the 101 next year?
Yeah, so like over on Blue Sky, I actually kind of posted about like I think Devin Achan should be in the conversation for the 101 next year, right? Like under Tua, he's like basically like CMC, like basically he's like CMC, dude. You know, like Hill really has. I think Hill has been sort of a little bit disappointing. I know he's been dealing through an injury or playing through an injury.
Mm.
Today was really like the Jalen Waddle game, but like I really think that like Devin Achan has like a case to be the 101 next year in redraft. And I guess like and I think you and I discussed this privately, and we wanted to make this show with more of a dynasty lens. Is like where is Achan for you from a dynasty tiers perspective? Because there's going to be like I think like correct me if I'm wrong here, Blair. Massive shakeups in like the dynasty landscape after the season.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you still have, I don't know, it's hard to move him ahead of guys like Bijan and
Is it?
um, McCaffrey
Is it?
and
Like
Breeze.
even McCaffrey?
I don't know. Is it? these
I don't
names
know,
are
man.
these names are kind of entrenched, right? They have
Right, yeah, but and I'm not talking too much about like an age cliff here, right? This isn't like an
right.
age cliff issue with like because I mean as we've seen with guys like Saquon and Henry is like I guess Saquon's like remove him from the equation. Like in my opinion, people fading Saquon was really bad process, right? Like I think the one big lesson, at least a one key takeaway from this entire season, is that like running back advanced stats are not sticky year over year unless you're talking about the same team, the same OL, the same, everything else that comes with it. The second they make these like changes to teams, you got to start like factoring in like actual raw talent that we know, right? And we know Saquon is good, right? Like we
Right.
know Saquon is good. And so like the fact that people were fading him because of like tough time in the Giants or because he has to play through multiple injuries, like I think that was in like the market was like the way I put it is the market was right in Saquon where he was going,
Yeah.
right? And we were wrong, right? Taking a stance against Saquon was wrong. Choosing JT ahead of Saquon, I think, in my opinion, was bad process, and that was wrong, right? Like now that but going back to like the question at hand, like I don't know if like at least from a dynasty perspective, like can you not see selecting HN in the first round? Like I understand like the Bijan and Brees like and CMC, but like is it so crazy to put HN above those guys?
No, I don't think
Sorry
it's
to flip that question on you because I don't think it's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. We've certainly seen that he's one of the few guys in the league this year in particular who's getting close to, 10 expected points
Yeah,
receiving and 10 rushing. And that's kind of
Right.
the recipe we're looking for. If you can combine that profile with the efficiency that we've seen from Achan, 4 fantasy points over expectation ish, then we're talking about a 24 point per game running back, which is clearly 101 territory. That's
Right.
not.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Like it's tough because I think a few years ago, I think 4 years ago, you and I made this call about CMC being the 101, right? And then he went on this like tear.
Was
And
it
I'm not.
controversial 4 years ago?
I think it was. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't
I think
know.
it was. I think, and maybe the people are saying that we're washed, right? And so, like, I don't know if this is controversial, but like I really think that Achan should be in that 101. Cobra Kai, thanks for hanging out. He says a bunch of really good, fun things in the chat. Brock Bowers is a fake alpha. Long live Trey McBride. We're going to be discussing Trey McBride soon. And TJ Hawkinson. Anytime I play Brock Bowers in DFS, he does jack, and when I don't play him, he booms. Bro, welcome to join the club. That's why I had to quit DFS. Caleb Williams, we will be talking about Caleb. Rome, we will be talking about Rome Odunze. And Kyler Murray is on the show sheet as well. Cobra Kai somehow has written our show sheet for us. Very excited to start. He might as well be taking our seat. I swear I'm not him. But back to Achan, right? So I think with like what we've seen this season, at least with the Finns, is like Achan with Tua under center has been that 24. Like he's been, like you said, you've got the 20 EP guy, right?
Yeah.
Like and without him, it's not like the whole offense stalls. It's not just Achan, right? Like your Skylar Thompsons and I don't even know the other guy's name, but like they're just so bad, man. Like the whole offense completely tanks. With Tua, like with a usable offense under center, he is good, dude. And this doesn't take away from the fact that we've seen Waddle have a massive game today. Hill has sort of slowed down. So I wanted to get your take on what you're doing with him in Dynasty. And then on top of that, Jonathan Smith is probably making an argument to be ranked again as a top 12 tight end in Dynasty. So I wanted to get your take on this entire offense.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously Tua makes a big difference, and Hill dealing with that injury. I haven't heard a lot about what his injury is, but it sounds like it does affect his ability to actually catch the ball, like to actually grip it. So there's something there with his wrist injury or something that might actually be impacting, his kind of one of the key skills for a wide receiver, which is making catches. So obviously if that's the case, then that's probably, not going to get better anytime soon if it's that serious. So, Hill's already 30 probably.
He's going to be 31 next year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. If this is a temporary thing, then obviously he's still pretty talented. He's still fast, still seems to have something. I wouldn't want to drop him too far in my dynasty rankings, but I'm still like thinking 3rd round at the best, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like 3rd round feels fair for Hill. I think the one thing you and I can agree on, and I think a lot of people in fantasy like need to think about this as well, is running back is deep, right? Wide receiver range, man.
Yeah.
Like this year we've suffered some injuries to some key guys, but even before them suffering injuries, they weren't very good. So Stephon Diggs seems kind of done, man. Like he seems cooked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's
coming back from injury is not something you want. I think he's probably a player.
What's his dynasty? There is no chance I'm getting even a 2nd round for him in dynasty leagues.
Oh yeah. No
right.
Way.
No way. So you're stuck. You are going to be holding him. Like in my opinion, the way you play Stephon is that you hold him until like his value is completely gone. Right.
Yeah.
Godwin, no one's going to give up value for.
Right. At a certain point, dynasty assets are worth more for the points they can actually give you to your team.
Actually add to your
for in trade. Maybe you still get a 2nd for Diggs actually might be something you could get just
if you're like a team that needs the assets. Well, if you're a team that needs the assets, I don't see like why. You know what I mean?
Right. That's the problem. Is that no team that's rebuilding is going to want Diggs, and no team that's contending is going to want Diggs because
It's
he
like,
doesn't
yeah,
help you
because
this
why
year.
would they spend? Yeah, exactly.
So that does
It's
make it difficult. But with Hill, maybe you could sell him to a team that is contending with the hope
well,
that he'll be able to turn it on as this offense starts to take shape, get to a
so I saw
back.
so I saw someone try to offer me Tyreek Hill plus I can't even remember some some rando tight end for Rasheed Rice and Eric All. It was like a wide receiver tight end for a wide receiver tight end.
Yeah.
And like I'm a contending team. I'm like a sixth place team that's like a pretender, man. Like if I make it to the playoffs, I'm getting bounced, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm like what am I like?
Unreal.
What is this trade? Like what am I doing with this?
If you think
Like,
you're a
like
contender, then yeah.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't. Well, one, I don't, but I also hate those kind of trades,
Right.
right?
Right.
The exact same positions for the exact same positions. That's stupid.
Yeah. And at
Like,
the
like
same
I'm like I'm
time,
never trading that.
yeah, those are difficult trades to make.
Well, those are just like in all honesty, they're dumb to offer because you're never going to get anything done, right? Like why would I get older and worse at a position instead of keeping my guys for next year? Like what is this doing for a sixth place team?
For a
It's not
sixth
doing
place
anything.
team, yeah, maybe it does nothing. For a third place team, maybe that's something. But at the same
I
time,
don't
I'm
think
not
so, but like
sure.
Hill hasn't done anything to like prove that. You know what I mean?
That's right. I'm not sure Hill actually helps you much this year,
Yeah,
especially if his injury is really that big a
yeah.
deal.
And we don't even we haven't. They're not on the show sheet, but like Rashid Rice is clearly like a 1-2 round pick in dynasty. He's probably going to be a first, second round pick in like redraft.
Oh wow. I could see that.
Right? Like, I mean, like next year, I really want more Xavier Worthy. I'm going down with the ship, dude. He actually has come on,
Yeah.
right? Like, and but I do think that like I don't know, man. Like, uh, I think Rashid Rice is that good, dude. Like, I really think he is. He was crushing until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at like just sort of I don't have our dynasty rankings up, but I'm just looking at like other underdog redraft ranks, right? And like yeah, man, there's gonna be some pretty major shifts, even in like the dynasty side, right? Like I can't even pull the dynasty. Yeah, there it is. Got the dynasty ADP app going.
Yeah, it
Um,
hasn't been updated in probably.
well, it doesn't need to be, right? But
Okay,
like
you're just looking at last year.
yeah, but like, do we want to try to talk triflex leagues or?
Yeah, probably.
All right. So the Rotoviz Triflex leagues, you can play these exclusively on the FFPC.
You think you could
Uh,
share your screen?
I am sharing my screen, or at least trying.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, because
Not sharing it with me.
well,
There we go.
StreamYard makes you do a whole bunch of acceptances and this,
There we
that, and the
go.
other, right? So looking at this is like the ADP draft grade, and sorry for our audio listeners, but you can go to rotoviz.com/dynasty-ADP and you can see what we're looking at. Right, the quarterbacks feel fine. I think you have CJ Stroud here at the 1-3, and I think he's gonna slide back.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is gonna slide back. I think Lamar Jackson goes up.
You think
Anthony Richardson.
Mahomes slides?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think Joe Burrow is going to climb up quite a
Well,
bit.
Daniels climbs up,
I
especially
think, yeah. So just for the audio listeners here,
even
so
after a loss today. He was pretty good.
yeah, he was pretty good. But I think the first round at 108, you've got Anthony Richardson who went off as QB6 on the board. I think he slides way back. Jaden Daniels is going in the middle of the second round as QB12. I think he's now going to go where Anthony Richardson would go. So Jaden Daniels slams into the first round.
I think he might sneak into the top 5, like ahead of Stroud.
Top 5 ahead of Stroud. Yeah, I think you know what? I think I'm with you. I think Lamar Jackson will move up. And I think Jaden Daniels will probably be your QB3, QB4 next season. In Rotoviz Triflex, you've got Anthony Richardson at QB6. I think he slides way back. You have Caleb Williams at QB7. I think he slides back. I think Joe Burrow at QB8 at 111 will go up. You've got, I think Jaden Daniels is definitely the biggest gainer in the first 2 rounds. Marvin Harrison at wide receiver 4 at the end of the first. I think he slides back. He's definitely going to be jumped by Malik Neighbors and Puka Nakua. But just look at the running backs here, right? You got Bijan at the first running back, then Brees, then you got Jameer Gibbs. We can talk about Gibbs real quick. I think this is the guy who you and I were debating. Jameer Gibbs rushed 21 times for 90 yards and 2 scores in the Lions' Week 12 win over the Colts. He also had 3 catches for 9 yards. Gibbs is, this is the third 2-score day on the ground this season. It's his first since Week 7. It's the first time he also has reached 20 carries this year, largely because David Montgomery missed a time. Montgomery sounds like he's actually going to be fine in time for Turkey Day. But do you think Achane here going as a QB6, like RB6, do you think he jumps Jameer Gibbs?
He probably does, because it doesn't look like there's as much of a threat to Achane's workload. I mean, Jalen Wright had a little bit of run today. He actually was probably the most efficient in terms of running the ball.
Yeah, and David Montgomery got that extension, right? So
right. Montgomery, yeah. Clearly they still like him a lot. They're still using him. He had a touchdown. He also had 36 receiving yards to only 9 for Gibbs, which is maybe not quite what you expect, but we know both of these guys are good receivers. So, yeah, the Lions are going to keep using.
Yeah, it's really demolished. Like, it gives like Jared Goff that weird up and down fantasy value. The big glaring value on this board here, I think, is Travis Etienne at RB7. I think that value is going to crater after this season. Absolutely going to crater.
Oh yeah, for sure. Etienne. I think there's a question as to whether he's even the top running back on his team at this point.
Yeah, and it's the same goes with Rachaad White, but that's a tease for later in the show. Who's going as RB15? Yeah, his value is also going to go way down.
One name that's kind of interesting when we're talking about running backs we have a little bit of hope in. You look in the 6th round, you see Jonathan Brooks there. Brooks, of course, had
he had nothing today.
Carries, and what did he end up with? Like 2 carries for 7 yards or something?
Yeah, just absolutely. Like, he's gonna have it. He has a Chuba Hubbard problem, bro.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. What do we make of this? Obviously, his first game, maybe they're easing him in. It was a tough defense to run against. The Chiefs are one of the hardest teams to run against. I wrote about this last week in the Wrong Read, that it wasn't the best matchup for Brooks to be making his debut, and we shouldn't expect anything huge from him. But I was hoping for a little bit more than this. But I mean, do you think this is just kind of early workload management in a tough matchup, and we'll see his share grow, or are you starting to get pretty worried?
I'm not worried about like what he's gonna do. I really think this is a lost season for him.
Yeah.
Right? I really think the question is where does he go versus Chuba next season? Yeah. I think that's the bigger one. I don't know how much faith I'm going to be putting in him next year anyway. Chuba clearly is good at football. They've signed him to a pretty big contract.
Right.
They don't seem to really care about using either running back. I mean, Chuba got 5 targets. Jonathan Brooks didn't see any work in the receiving game.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to, I really don't know what Jonathan Brooks is going to return. At this point, I'm really not interested in trading for him. Trey Benson was also another name on that Dynasty ADP app who I think is going to see a little bit of a crater. I know I've seen some people say send out trade offers for Trey Benson. As someone who invested a first in him, that's what I want in exchange. And everyone's going to say the same, which is no way, this class is so much better. You can't expect a first in return. So then why are you bothering trying to trade for this guy, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I think that's just about it. That, as a Trey Benson owner, I think that's the only price that I'm willing to accept is any first, right? So I think that's you can't trade for him. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know you're saying go out and go get Trey Benson, but savvy dynasty owners are
holding him. Yeah,
why are you trying to get Trey Benson?
Part of the first valuation when you spent a first on him at the beginning of this season was that kind of the hope that he comes out of the gate and
not even I didn't mean come out of the gate.
which is well, I don't know if you're expecting that, but when you spend a first on him, that's at least part of the range of outcomes that you're paying for.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So when you don't get that, doesn't that lower what the value should be.
No, because you needed to make this move much, much, much earlier,
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
You can't wait to see signs of life from him and then try and make the move, right? Because today he actually did outrush Connor, I believe, and he's been like kind of like creeping up. Like today, James Conner had 7 carries for 8 yards. Trey Benson had 4 for 18, right?
He did
Connor had
technically outrush him.
5 targets and he got all 5 for 41 yards. It's a different story, right?
Yeah.
But like it suggests that there are signs of life here or big explosive plays from Trey Benson, right? And
I mean, DeMarcado rushed only one time for 14
for
yards.
14 yards. That's right.
Talk about explosive play.
I know that I had to start Amari DeMarcado in one in the league. And I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. Nope, got nothing else after that.
So you won't trade Benson for anything less than a first now?
Well, yeah. So, but like, why, right?
But what would you offer to get Benson?
It would have to be a first or a
you
second.
You would offer a first if you're buying.
You would
Benson,
have to.
You would offer a first.
You would have to, right? You would have to.
I don't know.
Like, but based on my rationale, if I want to buy Benson, and I want the other owner to hit snap accept, I'm going to offer a first. Like,
yeah.
So here's the thing: is that like James? The Cardinals do have an out in 2024 from James Conner's contract. They will be eating about $10 million in dead cap. So I don't see them doing that. They'll probably bring him back. It's his age 29 season, and you can see more of a 50-50 share next year, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like. I'm just not vibing with these. Go buy Trey Benson. He's probably cheaper arguments that are being made. It's like all these random straw man arguments.
Are we talking right? Super flex or 1 QB?
Yeah, probably super flex.
Oh man, I mean,
right? Like, and I think this is where it gets. I don't
even know with this class, but I'm sure I could come up with like 18 names in this.
Yeah, that's sort of the issue, Benson. Right? That's sort of the issue. That's kind of the issue. Yeah. Is that like this is supposed to be a very good running back class? It's supposed to be a good quarterback class, and it's supposed to be a good wide receiver class. Right now, right. I don't know how good they're going to be compared to this actual wide receiver class, but I am optimistic about these running backs. Their demands that you take back the first round pick. No, I'm not going to take back the first round pick. Joking. like the issue here is there's a lot of folks going around on Twitter and on Blue Sky making the same argument for Trey Benson. And they must play in with chimpanzees as league mates, because I can tell you in my leagues, that is your going cost.
I think I would sell Benson for an early second. Second plus, maybe.
Well, yeah, but not even plus. I would sell him for the second if we could get it.
Oh, you would sell him for a second round pick.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to get it. I'm going to ask the first, and then when I don't, but what rebuilding team?
But if somebody offered you a second for Benson, you would accept that?
No, it can't be any second. It's going to have to be a 201 to the 203. But what rebuilding team is trying to buy Trey Benson in these super flex dynasty deeper league formats, as opposed to holding on to that and actually taking a risk through the draft?
Yes,
right. I just don't unfortunately, if you're looking to sell or offload Benson, it's going to be at a loss, and I don't think that you can just accept that. You just accept the fact that you either made a bad pick, then you move on.
In a super flex league, early second is hardly a loss at all, right?
No, right, and that's the thing is that is Jaden Reed droppable in redraft? No.
What if somebody offered you super flex? Yeah, don't drop Jaden Reed. I don't think.
Do not drop Jaden Reed.
Maybe if you're in a really shallow league, but
the FFPC Triflex or just FFPC Dynasty in general.
Oh, he said redraft.
Yeah, so is Jaden Reed droppable in redraft? I don't think Jaden Reed is droppable in redraft at all. I think Jaden Reed is. Again, the issue with Jaden Reed is that, man, you're dealing with the fact that they're treating Dobbs like the alpha. I think Reed is going to have his games. Do not drop him because take a look at that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but going back to Benson, I mean, what if in Superflex, say somebody offered you the 210
for Benson?
Yeah.
No, I don't want that. Like, I
Well,
don't
would
want
that
the
be
tight end.
close? Would that be close? Would you have
No,
that
no,
conversation?
no.
I think that's pretty close for me.
You what?
Eh,
So you're taking, but like in Superflex, what was the Superflex ADP for Benson? Was it like 202, 203? I don't remember
yeah, I
now.
don't
He was
remember.
a second, right, in the
Pull that up.
Superflex.
Early second. He wasn't going in the first in
He wasn't going
Superflex,
in
I
the
don't think.
first, right?
Yeah, because almost no running backs were like you could have a Superflex rookie draft with no running backs in it at all. So he was probably early second.
Trey Benson was an early second pick in Superflex. He was going after Bo Nix,
Right.
right? Only
And
3 targets. When Dobbs went out, he wasn't targeted. Yeah, I think the other issue with using that even when Dobbs went out, Tyler, is that they didn't need to do anything. They were just getting it all done on the ground with Josh Jacobs against like a 49ers team that like couldn't fight back. Like there's like nothing has changed. The second the Packers are forced into actually having to play football, Jaden Reed actually does pop really heavily, dude. So I really would not base dropping him and what happened after Dobbs went out like as like as an indication against him. Like I wouldn't like. I mean, they were like targeting what Malik Heath and stuff. They were just clowning the Niners.
yeah, it was a very
Clowning the
weird
Niners.
game. Only 23 pass attempts for Jordan Love.
Yeah,
Obviously, they didn't have to throw much. Apart from Dobbs, Reed was the leading target earner, well tied with Christian Watson. So still, for some reason, I mean, I actually think Dobbs is good, but for some
I
reason,
think
they
Dobbs
do
is good
seem to
too.
prioritize Dobbs over a lot of their targets, even ones who I think are better than him. And that's just going to probably keep happening. But I do not think you want to drop Reed unless, I mean, there's really no reason unless, yeah, you're in a really shallow league.
And also, don't do that because in 2 weeks you have a really big bye week coming again, and you really are going to need him
That's true.
one
Week
more time.
14 is going to be
Yeah,
going to
that's
be
another bye week.
a good time to have Dobbs. I mean, to have Reed.
Yeah, like they're just but hey, ideally you have both, but I mean, it is the way it goes. And I think that hang on, who do they play in 2 weeks? Let's look at that.
Yeah, let's pull that up.
Oh, in 2 weeks they play against the Lions, dude.
So that's
No, wait,
probably
no, wait, the 2 weeks is 12-5, right? Yeah, 2 weeks is the 5th. So they will be playing against the hang on 11-28. Yeah, they play against the Lions.
I'm going to pull up the Strength of Streaming app. Not that I don't believe you, but you don't sound confident.
I'm not. Dobbs concussion. All right. So Jaden Reed's world. Man, Jaden Reed was at one point carrying one of our teams.
No, in week 14, yes, they are playing the Lions. That's right.
Yeah, I don't sound okay. I didn't sound confident, but I just it's gonna be better scripts for him. I do
That's
as we're having
good. They also play Miami next week, which if Miami can put up another 30-point game, then this could be a good
I do think
stretch for
Miami can, dude. I do think Miami can. I think Miami can push them, and I think Lions are definitely going to push them.
Seattle in week 15 as well is a game you would think would be
You would hope
high scoring, although Seattle today put up a dud, obviously, but they are a team that usually throws the ball a lot, usually plays some pretty competitive games with
and then optimistically
teams.
you get like a good reason to start Reed in your playoffs for the championship against the Vikings. There's some good like opportunities here. Like I wouldn't panic on Reed. Speaking of running backs who are gaining or losing dynasty value, Bucky Irving rushed 12 times for 87 yards in the score in the Bucks' Week 12 win over the Giants. He added 6 catches for 64 yards. His 151 yards from scrimmage are a career high, and his 18 touches are a new personal best. Basically, he's bookended the the bye week that came from the Bucks' last 2 games with his 2 biggest touchdowns, and was out touching Rashad White. Blair, changing of the guard in Tampa Bay, and is Bucky Irving the rightful RB1 in this class? Is this like an Aaron Jones situation where you get him in the 3rd round in the rookie draft and he just happens to be this like uber talented running back?
Bucky Irving could be the running back one in this class.
Yeah,
I don't even think that would be that much of a
that's not
surprise at
how is
this
that
point.
a hot take, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's very hot. I mean, Tyrone Tracy obviously was kind of in the mix, but he was did not have a good day in the same game. Um, yeah, I can. When you see some of the guys going ahead of him put up kind of disappointing days or not even playing. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I
guys
think
who are. Sorry, you say?
no, I think that's perfectly reasonable to say Bucky might be the running back one in this class. Um, Changing of the guard, yeah, I hope about time. Rashad White
About
had
time, right?
as many carries as Irving did in this game, but only gained 37 yards.
Joe King makes a good note. Bucky down to the one twice with a touchdown, and they gave one
Oh,
of those to Sean Tucker too,
I
which
saw
is
that.
really frustrating.
Yeah.
Going back to the dynasty ADP thing, it went Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Kimani Vidal, and Ray Davis, all selected before Bucky Irving was in dynasty rookie drafts. And I think I'd rather have Bucky than all of them, right?
At this point, I think you have to. Like, Bucky's actually shown he's got the talent to compete,
And he's
and
pushed his way onto the field.
exactly, and not because of an injury either, just because he's playing really well and outplaying the other guys in the backfield. So, yeah,
Yeah,
he's really exciting. Had a good
as
game in the air too. In fact, I think Shepard had 7 targets, but Bucky Irving had as many targets as Mike Evans.
yeah,
More
Evans is still
receptions.
coming back from injury. He gets receptions too.
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly, Joe King. Right, and this is the thing: is that like the Bucks pants the Giants at the half.
Yeah.
I think it's like legitimately was an absolute rout
Well,
to
they were
where
ahead. They were ahead
30,
30 to nothing
30
going into the
nothing at
fourth
the
quarter,
half.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Going into the fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, like, here's the thing, man, is that like the biggest sign of life that we've seen from running backs in this class has been Bucky Irving, right? We've seen flashes of Trey Benson. We've seen nothing from Brooks. And a bunch of these guys, we've seen good stuff from Tyrone Tracy. We've seen good stuff from Ray Davis, right?
Yeah.
Marshawn Lloyd, we haven't seen anything of. Jalen Wright is out here like him and like Raheem Mostert are in a mid-off. Blake Corum cannot seem to basically force his way onto the field against the Rams, right? We've seen Braylon Allen do stuff. We've seen Isaac Guerrero do something.
Yeah.
But like the only one who's gotten consistent good touches has been Bucky Irving.
Right. I say Tracy had a disappointing day, considering that the Giants had Tommy DeVito under center and scored only 7 points. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him. He did have 42 rushing yards, 28 receiving yards on 4 receptions. He did lose a fumble, however, so I don't know how
Yeah.
much that might have impacted his kind of workload after that. But, all things considered, I think he still looks pretty good.
He looks
You make
good.
a case for like Irving and Tracy being number 1 and number 2 in the class?
I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, there's a legitimate case for Irving as RB1 overall. There's a very legitimate case for him
Wow.
going as
I don't know about that.
RB15 in Dynasty 8. No, I mean in this class, right?
Okay.
Because in Dynasty ADP we saw Rashad White was going as the RB15. There's a very good case for Bucky Irving to be like drafted in the 8th round as that running back.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to where he was.
Good note.
Singletary in after the fumble, Vulture TD. Thanks, Joe King. That's actually another good point. Is that like, look, the Giants, I think, what's his name, Dabble and company have actually lost the locker room. Like Malik Neighbors was out there like complaining about like his lack of targets and the fact that he finally sort of started seeing work after they were down 30 zip.
Yeah.
I love that about Neighbors, man. Like I love that he's got like I love these diva wide receivers who are good. They know they're good. They want the ball, right? Like I was like a big OBJ like apologist. Any wide receiver that does that has like my support, right? Because they're good. They know they're good. They know that the way you win is getting them the ball.
Did you watch the off-season Hard Knocks with the Giants?
Oh God, no! That sounded terrible.
It was pretty terrible. But what's funny is like they interviewed Neighbors and they asked him specifically that question about what he's going to do if he's not getting targets, and he was honest. He's like, "I want to get the ball. I'm gonna I'm going to let you know. And
But that's
Gable was like, okay, good. I like that. That's what I want to hear. So,
but that's kind of what you need from these wide
yeah.
receivers, right? Like they need to be this uber confident because like I don't know. Anyway, but like yeah, I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of rookie running back talk, but I wanted to get into a discussion about and we have a lot of show sheet left, but a running back going the wrong way. Jonathan Taylor, he rushed 11 times for 35 yards in the Colts' Week 12 loss to the Lions. He also wasn't targeted at all in the passing game for the first time since Week 1. And now he only has one catch for 3 yards in 2 games since Anthony Richardson's return. Right? This was his second straight dud with Richardson under center. Hypothetically, the belief was that Richardson would start opening up lanes for Jonathan Taylor. But those lanes are closed, right? Taylor got outgained 61-35 by Richardson on the ground, right? Like it just seems to be like I don't know about you, but like I think Jonathan Taylor is one of my bigger regrets in the second round this year. What are you doing with him though in Dynasty? Like I don't know where you're at on him in redraft, but in Dynasty, I really don't see myself picking him as like in like the top 2 rounds as he was going.
Yeah, he was actually somebody I was avoiding in redraft this year, along with Saquon.
Could have told me.
I think,
we're both broke. It doesn't really matter, right? Like,
yeah, too late now.
We just broke in different. We just both got through like poverty in like different ways.
The problem is if you weren't like, it was fine if you were avoiding Taylor, but if you weren't drafting Derrick Henry instead, then it didn't matter. So
yeah, or Saquon. They were going to rank back to back, right? Like it doesn't matter.
So yeah, in Dynasty, I probably am a little more optimistic about him in Dynasty because I think kind of his talent gives him a little more value in the long term than his sort of short-term situation does. Obviously, it seems like Richardson is not going to be the answer for this team. I mean, he was somehow even worse today than he's ever been earlier in the season.
Hey, everyone keeps telling me to watch the tape on Anthony Richardson.
Probably should have seen that coming. Did you want to share this?
What? Yeah, I did want to share this.
You guys hate Rich.
Because this is your actual opportunity cost, right? I don't see taking Jonathan Taylor in tight end premium above Trey McBride. I can't see him taking over him over Brock Bowers, right? There's a case for Jalen Waddle to jump Jonathan Taylor. There's a case for Kyle Pitts to jump Jonathan Taylor. There's a case for Drake May to jump at Jonathan Taylor. Nico Collins should jump Jonathan Taylor.
Definitely.
Devon Achane should jump Jonathan Taylor, right? So you're starting this like very long line of like you'd rather have JSN than Jonathan Taylor, and that's like 2.5 rounds later. Rather have Xavier Worthy than Jonathan Taylor, right? So like there's this very long line of like guys you'd rather have, right? What? Xavier Worthy?
I guess. Right,
so
prefer Worthy.
So Brian Thomas or Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, probably Thomas.
Thomas, right? Rashid Rice or Jonathan Taylor?
Rice.
Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor?
Walker.
Right, James Cook or Jonathan Taylor?
That one, I think I prefer Taylor.
That right, yeah. Jordan Addison and Jonathan Taylor. That's when.
After today,
yeah, we have him on a show sheet, right?
So Taylor, yeah, I think
that's like the issue.
It's hard to see. Joe King says you guys hate A-Rich.
You guys hate Rich.
But did you see how he played today? Like, I would love for somebody to make a compelling case for why A-Rich is actually good. Not only in fantasy, but good for the Colts. He completed 11 of 28 passes today, which sounds pretty bad, but it might not even be that bad compared to what he's done in some previous games. I'd have to look back. But, I mean...
It's not so much as like hating on A-Rich. It's just we said the same thing about Alan just saying I'm no scout. I'm with you. Look, joking. Like I'm very much with you on this, right? But like, how do I put this? Is like it's more or less like I want him to succeed, right? I just need to know where, because he's going to be a guy who's very difficult to value next offseason. And there's a lot better, safer guys that you can be picking than taking A-Rich at cost or even at, because his cost this season was ceiling pricing, right? There's always someone who's always willing to take him as a QB5 or QB6 or QB4. And his from a fantasy perspective, if you're buying into the ceiling argument for A-Rich, I think the issue is he needs to pay off because he has like you're taking a big. It's not a smart risk at that point for next season. Is my point. It was a smart risk this year, and even then, it's a bit debatable because you're still buying him at like true ceiling pricing. But next year, it's like inexcusable, right? Like you can't just keep martingaling. Like I don't know. But maybe you can. I personally can't keep martingaling on A-Rich, and even though I have a very small amount of him in my portfolio.
I mean, I do.
I think
Josh
if I
Allen wasn't as bad in his rookie year as A-Rich has been in year 2, or maybe considering he didn't play that many games last season, rather, you could consider this as kind of his rookie year. But I mean, he's completed less than half his passes on the year, 47.1%. He has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. And his rushing hasn't provided at least the kind of fantasy value that you need to make up for how bad his passing has been, except in really one game against the Jets when he had those 2 touchdowns. Other than that, maybe week 1, he also had a rushing touchdown then. Other than that, his rushing production hasn't overcome the kind of disaster he's been in the passing game. So from both a fantasy perspective and a reality perspective, I think there's
howdy. Historical anomalies joins. I will say the one thing about if you are going to martingale like a quarterback next year, I would martingale Caleb Williams before I even think about or dream about martingaling AR-15.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Like I just think that like we need to be placing our bets smartly, and I just don't think that like I think Anthony Richardson is going to go at like QB13, and I have zero interest in him at that pricing, right? Like I have just no interest in him there.
What do you think are the chances Richardson gets benched again this season?
I think they're like non-existent this season.
Oh really?
Like, I think they pot committed to him, man. Like I don't think they can do this again.
So the Colts are
5-7. There's like
5-7. Yeah,
they're on the outside, kind of looking in. Like there's just no way. All right, like there's just no way. Like you just have to figure it out with him. If he is good, if he isn't good, right? And I think he gets 1 or 2 more seasons. But like I have just no interest in like taking this kind of a chance. Again, especially when like I mean Caleb has actually kind of come on with of late, which is I mean like it's A-Rich did something to Blair. Blair's like
I drafted him last year.
Blair's 5 figures in debt with the A-Rich teams, dude. Steichen at risk of being fired. The benching was an odd situation. All the play has called for it. Yeah, so that's the thing. Historical anomalies. Like if play calls for your rookie, like or rookie or second year quarterback to actually be benched, that is not a good player, man. Like that is like a Blake Bortles like situation that like I don't like. You can't get out of it, right? If your play justifies him being benched, that's not a good player, right? Like to a 40-year-old Joe Flacco, nonetheless, right? Like it's ridiculous. Like Caleb is actually like with the change in offense today, he had like 340 yards and 2 scores. They didn't quite like do it, but like that's like an offense that's actually kind of ascendant, and we know that this has been like we know that there are actual issues with that team. Yeah. A-Rich owes people money. We'll send Blair to collect. That's right. Yeah. Trust me. Like I would love to shake him down, but like there's a very real possibility Irsay has snorted most of it. So we'll have to see what A-Rich has to say for himself after this one. What if A-Rich just got really into ketamine, guys? Like that's a possibility.
Would it help his passing?
Horse tranquilizer? I don't think so.
You never know.
You never know.
Can't get much worse.
Yeah, I mean it's AR2 and 15, man. We will try and get Sacrilegious on to get his take as well, but at some point I got to reach out to him. This is gonna be news to him if he hears it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm like thoughts on Myers. I mean, how are these guys all reading our show sheet, man?
I mean, I do want to talk. Well, I don't know. That game had a lot of interesting stuff in it.
You want to just flip to it?
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
what else do you
this
want?
is this he it is on this Vegas have any incentive to get Danny Dimes. Joking, yes they do.
That's
But
interesting.
Danny Dimes does say that he wants to play for a contender, so that becomes difficult, right? So I think if you're Baltimore, you want to get Danny Dimes,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But like Vegas should try and get him, but just thinking through it, like we do have Minshew as like a broken collarbone, right? He's out for the season.
Yeah.
And I'm unfortunately really worried about what this means for Bowers. Like realistically, if I was Aiden O'Connell, I'd probably just target Bowers like 18 times a game and call it a day. Like,
What is the latest on O'Connell?
he's on the Raiders and he's so bad.
I know. I just mean, is he expect O'Connell to be back for the Friday contest against the Chiefs in Week 13? All right, so I guess good timing
Well,
on the
Desmond Ritter
Minshew
played
injury.
today.
Desmond Ritter played. Yeah,
Completed 5 of 10 passes for 64 yards.
right. But I would assume we'll have O'Connell next week.
We got Ritter and mop up today. Yeah, Myers had 14 targets overall. It's Jacoby Myers who took a lot of those targets, and that's the thing. It's like as long as you can condense that down to Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, I think Bowers will be fine. I don't want to see any more Trey Tucker targets. Eight targets, 7 for 82 is actually a pretty good line. But like we know like, man, I don't know, man. Like I would just prioritize Bowers. Last week Bowers got all the targets. Yeah, and I'm hoping that that's the case for him going forward. Especially for our bags. I think, guys, like we gotta iron the prize here. Like I don't think any of us are. If any of you guys are like wildly overweight Trey Tucker, I'm going to need to know why, and also is that a cry for help? Jacoby Myers, I can see. Brock Bowers definitely. But like I am hoping that like I don't know, man. Like I still think that it's going to be Bowers versus Myers like going forward. I think it's going to condense down to those two. I'm not too worried on Myers, or Bowers. Myers, Minshew also is the same situation. Tyler, I'm not too worried about either or. I think you can roll them both out. They just don't have anyone else to throw to.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah, Myers looked good today. I don't think anything changes with O'Connell. They're still not a very good offense, and they're gonna have to be
Oh, what about
targeting.
Myers? Yeah, sorry about that, Tyler. We're talking Bowers. Myers is pretty good. I still think he will be fine, dude. I think I can't get the game splits app up with for Jacoby Myers. I don't think. There it goes. All right. I'm just gonna let me just pull up what Jacoby Myers does with Aiden O'Connell.
While you're pulling that up, I have the Strength of Schedule streaming app up, which has the Las Vegas Raiders with the easiest wide receiver schedule from now through Week 17. They get Kansas City next week, which is fine, not great. Tampa Bay, which is one of the better matchups, probably second best matchup you could ask for. Atlanta in Week 15, Jacksonville Week 16, New Orleans Week 17. So a string of pretty nice wide receiver matchups for the Las Vegas Raiders. Tight end matchup, fourth best in the league over that same stretch. Jacksonville is one of the easiest tight end matchups, so they get to play them in Week 16.
You're talking about Bowers, right?
Bowers for that, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm talking
Both
about
Bowers and Myers have very good schedules coming
very
up.
good schedules. Okay. Yeah. So Myers with Aiden O'Connell on the center, 2 games, but that's
Here,
about
let me pull this up.
17 PPR points a game.
Okay, so
That's pretty good, man. Like,
yeah, small sample,
small
but
sample,
encouraging.
but yeah, but like it just sort of suggests that like
What does
Aid
Bowers look
O'Connell.
like with O'Connell?
It's about the same.
A little bit better with O'Connell than without. So yeah,
I
I
mean,
think I would have some
well,
hope
I
for
think
both these guys,
so. Like the big thing is,
especially with the upcoming schedule.
I think this number is a little inflated because Myers wasn't there for a couple of games, right? Yeah, but at
Oh,
the end of the
well,
day,
yeah, right.
but at the end of the day, like the lesson here is that like your target share condenses around your main talents.
And at least Bowers is
Joking
uh,
asks any
good.
FFPC sweats. Blair and I were talking about this before the
Not
show
anymore.
started. We got absolutely obliterated, guys. I don't think either of our teams are going to crack 80 points, and
Well,
and it's a high scoring week somehow.
yeah, it
There's what
depends
6 teams
on.
on by.
It seems like we probably need. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe
50 points at a Pukanako in the second half.
I think 40. Maybe if we could get 50 points combined from Puka, Gus Edwards, and Justin Tucker, then we'd still be in position to make the playoffs.
Oh, Tucker can get us 30 points. No worries.
Yeah, probably.
Overzet and some of the viewers had boosted Abdullah's prop to 39.5 receiving yards, along with boosting Veli and Nix in a correlated game prop. Abdullah ended with 38 yards to lose $2,000 parlay.
Oh man.
Oh man. Ugh. Yeah. Welcome to Sat Down Population Us, bro. That's not good. All right, we got to keep getting through the show sheet though. Jordan Addison had a massive game today. He caught 8 of 9 targets for 162 yards and a score
On our
against the
bench in
Bears.
FFPC.
On our bench in FFPC, along with him on the bench, TJ Hawkinson. We could have used 50 points from those two guys.
That's right.
Right? Like the Bears clearly were like a focus on taking away Justin Jefferson. But both Addison and TJ Hawkinson had massive days. So I guess realistically, like the question here is more so from a dynasty perspective. Like, where do you think Addison goes? Because he is currently the wide receiver 30. And where would you think he goes next year?
So when you say he's currently the wide receiver 30, is that like dynasty
No,
ADP?
that's the ADP. Yeah, sorry, this is dynasty ADP. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a top 24 option at this point in dynasty.
Yeah.
Hard to put a value on kind of his startup cost at this point.
Yeah, I think it really
wouldn't-
depends, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like if I had him on my team, I definitely wouldn't trade him for less than a first.
Mm.
But would I ask for much more than that? That's kind of where I'm at, I think, with Addison. Although obviously he was excellent today. I don't expect he's going to be taking over Justin Jefferson's role anytime soon. So I think he's still going to be the wide receiver 2 there. There are obviously questions about what the quarterback position looks like in Minnesota.
Probably JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, you would think so. Although Darnold, for the most part, has played pretty well. So, is there a chance they let McCarthy sit another year, kind of?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Darnold's also had kind of like some streaky performances. And so I just think that the second he starts having those, like he's going to be pulled pretty quickly next season. Like I don't think they're going to have much time or much patience with him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on whether McCarthy is actually like up to the task. But yeah, I think there are question marks about the QB position in Minnesota, even with Darnold playing well. So I don't want to get too crazy on Addison, but I definitely like him in Dynasty and probably would be looking to acquire him.
Yeah, what are you paying for him first?
Yeah, I'd try to pay a first for him, maybe. In terms of like startup costs, would you take him as early as the 4th round, or is that too high? 3rd round?
4th round? No, it's too high. Tyler's asking. I only asked because Dell isn't good, and Mets is only
Myers
my
is my
wife.
only wide
Myers
receiver that
is
does
all
good.
right. Got it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, man. We didn't have a chance to talk about this, but like, dang, Dell really did a number, huh? Six good games as a rookie and disappearing act since then.
Yeah, what
Um,
happened there?
what happened there is that he's undersized. No, he's not. He's just not that good.
He was kind of an interesting, like he was
At
crazy.
cost, he was a really bad pick, dude.
Maybe he was like
He was a tough pick. He's a tough pick at cost this year.
a crazy efficient player in college, but
Yeah.
otherwise his profile did not look like that of a successful NFL wide receiver. So
But I will caveat one thing about Dell and the Texans is that they're trying to build the whole plane out of Joe Mixon rushing,
yeah,
right? And that has really destroyed CJ Stroud's value. It's destroyed. It just definitely has destroyed Tank Dell's value. Schultz, any hope that we had for this like passing game
today it destroyed
has
Mixon's
been
value.
killed. Sorry, today's destroyed Mixon's value.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, dude, being
1.6
taken
yards
to the
per carry.
yeah, well, being taken to the woodshed by the Tennessee Titans are 3-8.
Yeah,
Pretty embarrassing, man. Like Will Levis carved them up like Thanksgiving turkey, a little in double entendre there. I mean, Calvin Ridley's been playing like a man possessed. 6 targets, 5 catches for 93 yards, right?
mm-hmm.
Like even Tyler Boyd got into the act this week. 6 catches, 55 yards, and 6 targets, dude. Like come on. Like, come on.
Yeah, this
Tony
was
Pollard, like looked like the Tony Pollard everyone was drafting last year. 24 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown, right?
Yep.
Got 3 of his 5 targets for 10 yards. Like, it's a little ridiculous, right? Like what the Texans are doing, like trying to create the whole plane out of like Joe Mixon. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah, it's weird. Like obviously you have these talented wide receivers, you have Diggs. Obviously without Diggs is a kind of changes things, but still you had Stroud who was looking like the best quarterback in the league last year. Like he was almost a clear dynasty 101 for me coming
Yeah.
into this season.
But
And
now you'd rather have Jaden Daniels, right?
yeah, probably. And it just seems like a missed opportunity for the Texans in particular, right?
So here's some names: CJ Stroud or Joe Burrow.
Stroud.
Ha!
I don't know. That one's close,
Burrow.
but
CJ Stroud or Lamar Jackson?
Jackson.
Gotta be Lamar, right? CJ Stroud or what we just said, Jaden Daniels over him. CJ Stroud or Caleb Williams?
Stroud.
Trying to think, because like again, Stroud was going as like what the QB4, right? Like Caleb was going as QB7. CJ Stroud or Jordan Love?
Maybe that one's closer, but I think
one's
I would
closer,
go with
right?
Stroud there.
What will make you pick Love?
I don't know.
It's tough, right?
Yeah, that's a close one.
CJ Stroud or Jalen Hurts?
Probably Hurts.
Okay. So Hurts is going to retain his dynasty value in your opinion?
I think so.
But Hurts or Jaden Daniels?
Daniels.
Okay, so then, oh my god, dude. So Jaden Daniels is going to be like the QB4 then next season. It'd be like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And then probably Patrick Mahomes, then Lamar Jackson, then Jaden Daniels, right?
Yeah, unless you think you could get Lamar and Daniels ahead of Mahomes, which I don't think is.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say like that would be like the 2, right?
Daniels might be the QB3, or I mean, I'm sure that some people could make a case for Daniels over Lamar. So
yeah, we should try to get Sean on this like before the season's out, like
definitely
because he's gonna be the one that makes that case, dude. Like I don't want to steal his thunder. Like that's like his case.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll probably convince me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's close.
So we should try and We should try to get Sean on just for that, like, because I didn't want to get his take and your take, frankly, on this next quarterback, Kyler Murray, man, and we teased at the top. Cobra Kai was talking about him. Kyler Murray completed 24-37 passes for 285 yards and 1 int in the Cardinals, a 16-6 Week 12 loss to the Seahawks. This offense struggled in this matchup against their rivals. And they only scored the one field goal at the half, right? Like, they just failed to push the ball down the field. They only had like 2 decent scoring drives. Like, Trey McBride was he got 15 of Murray's 37 pass attempts. So I guess realistically, one, what are you doing with Kyler Murray as a dynasty QB? And then 2, is Marvin Harrison Jr. massively overhyped?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
I mean, because the second one really kind of informs the first, right?
Sure. Murray kind of has been a player I've been avoiding a little bit in Dynasty anyway, and in redraft to some extent this year, because he doesn't, he hasn't quite lived up to, I think, the hype, and is still valued based on some of that hype. Maybe that's not even the right way to put it. But,
do you still have do you have the site still up?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the NFL Player Stat Explorer.
Yeah. Let's see. You want me to share something?
I'm gonna share. I got it up.
All right.
Wow, this has turned into the most boring podcast of all. Sorry, audio listeners.
It's gonna be a really bad podcast if you're just listening, which is why you should come hang out live when we do this live on YouTube.
That's right.
Dream it live.
If you don't,
instead
if you
of
love it when
Sunday
people
Night Football.
If you love it when people in your MS Team meetings share their screens, well, boy, do we have a podcast for you. Yeah, I mean,
right. So actually, kind of a boom bust season, but all of those
50% of his starts have been quarterback one or better, quarterback one.
Yeah.
Right. But he's averaging, and this is a really unfair because he's averaging 20.5 PPR points per game. But when he misses, it's terrible, dude.
Right.
And he's missing in some prime spots against Detroit, against Washington, and against Green Bay, and against Buffalo in games that you would think would all be pace up shootout matchups.
Right. So
he isn't that bad.
Game in terms of fantasy scoring per game, Kyler Murray is 20.6. So if you pull up Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love, those are the 2 players on either side of Murray. It'd be interesting to see how the profile looks.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is 20.7.
Yeah, so Daniels, still has some of those busts. I don't even know if you would say he's necessarily more.
Well, 2 of those busts, right? Against Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, is coming off a rib injury.
That's true. And actually, that Carolina game, he left early.
Yeah, I guess. But also, what did they need to do against Carolina that Austin Eckler wasn't doing?
Right. Right. Well, that's why I think they didn't put him back in.
Very scary situation already.
Look at Jordan Love, who also is going to have some duds because he missed time.
Yeah, he's actually Jordan Love's worse, 20.1 PPR points a game, because he missed a bunch of games.
Right, right.
And he doesn't have, his ceiling is not as high.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe this is what you expect from kind of a QB 8, 9, 10 range, is to get those kind of performances where you have the big games and you also have the duds. Maybe that's not that unusual.
Maybe it's recently biased as a coloring our situation, right?
Yeah, could be.
Because you think he'd had a bigger season.
What are you doing with Kyler Murray in Dynasty? Because I don't really have a very clear sense of what his valuation should be.
Probably taking him ahead of Caleb Williams, but barely. I think they just should go back to back, right? Him, Caleb, Jordan Love, all these guys should be going blah 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 blah, right? That's your second wave of quarterback.
Yeah.
Hang on, where to go? That should be your second wave of quarterback run, right? God, the saddest word in the world, right? So when you're looking at when you're looking at it, right? Like this is for the audio listeners right now. When you're looking at the Dynasty ADP tool, you got Jordan Love going at the 1-2 turn. Then you have
And
Justin Herbert. Then you have Kyler Murray in the Rotoviz Triflex leagues, right?
Yeah, and to be clear, this is the Dynasty ADP as of like September.
End of the season. Yeah.
End of the offseason. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think Kyler Murray, I think that's just about fair. Like Caleb Williams slides down. So I think that tier probably goes Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, and then probably Anthony Richardson or Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richardson ahead of Lawrence? I don't know.
Maybe Lawrence ahead of Richardson, right? But I think that second round, run would be capped with the selection of Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. I think your other question is also a good one in this context. Marvin Harrison, who in this ADP
he was going as the wide receiver,
I believe, at the end of the first.
Yeah,
right.
He's going as the wide receiver
end of the first round.
ahead of guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's definitely going to take over him. Garrett Wilson is going to be probably ahead of him. Malik Neighbors definitely ahead of him. Puka Nacua definitely ahead of him. AJ Brown definitely ahead of him. Drake London definitely ahead of him.
Yeah, there are some interesting names. I mean, Nico definitely moves up.
Nico definitely moves up.
Does Odunze move up?
I think he just, man, like the thing with Odunze is you expect him to have done more today, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Saquon Barkley with a massive break.
5th round.
Wow, Saquon Barkley is just clowning the Rams. He's also clowning me for just not sticking to my process and going with him. But
clowning all of us. I was asking Zay Flowers in the 5th round. Does he move up ahead of Harrison?
That's true. See, that's spicy, and I like it. Yes.
Or here's a better question: Jackson
JSN.
Smith-Njigba, the next player on our show sheet.
That's the last one.
He definitely is moving up ahead of DK Metcalf. Is he also? Moving ahead of Harrison.
I don't know. I don't think he is moving ahead of Harrison. The question is, Rashid Rice is moving ahead of Harrison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Brian Thomas, is he moving ahead of Harrison?
See, that one I don't know about. And Rice I don't know about because...
Hang on. McBride or Bucky PPR? Hey, guys, who are you taking the rest of the season? McBride or Bucky? Bucky in PPR. Oh, man. This is such a hard question, dude.
That is a tough question. If it's tight end premium, go McBride.
If it's tight end premium, McBride. If it's not, it's probably Bucky.
Maybe still go McBride.
I might still go McBride. JSN finally get to the lofty Siegel prophecy. Yeah. Does he have a suspension to serve? I don't know, right? This is a good question, Joe King. Because, like, with Rashid Rice, we know he's out because of the injury. And if anything, like, wouldn't you as a team want him to serve his suspension now? Can he do that? Can they do that?
Are you allowed to serve a suspension?
I don't know. I don't know the law, man. Like if I was like this is some like
he has
what's the name of the Breaking Bad? Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Rice has no suspension currently. Like, what is the Breaking Bad lawyer name again?
Oh my gosh.
It's like that kind of like thought process, right? Like, sir, please.
I'm blanking on the name too.
I can't believe I'm blanking on the name right now. There you go. Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Saul. Better Call Saul. Yep. So I think like it's tough, man. Because like this is why I'm so excited for the offseason, because there's going to be some really major changes here. Like Pickens is going to probably move up from wide receiver 23. T. Higgins, I don't know is he going to move up or not. Rashid Rice is definitely moving up. Brian Thomas is definitely moving up. Jordan Addison probably moving up. Deebo Samuel probably moving down. I think he's got 42 scrimmage yards in his last 2 games without Ayuk.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed definitely moving up. Right?
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin probably moving a little bit up, but not that much. Right? George Hill is definitely moving up, and Joku definitely moving up.
I don't see Jalen Coker anywhere in this table.
No, he's undrafted.
He's moving up.
Definitely moving up. Dobbs over here, wide receiver 60, dude. He's definitely moving up.
So yeah, I think
Dude, you got Dobbs at wide receiver 60 and Dontavian shits at wide receiver 62. Like, come on. Cortland Sutton at wide receiver 57 is definitely moving up. He
This is
had
a
two
good
really
question
big games.
from Joe
What?
King. Who's
Uh
moving down? Like
who
who's
creators? Oh yeah, it's gonna be it's definitely gonna be so as of right now, the guys who I think would definitely be cratering down, Marvin Harrison definitely is probably going to be like a third round pick in my opinion. Ayuk at
yeah.
wide receiver
I
50
doubt
is definitely going down, dude.
if Harrison falls to the third, it's gonna be like early third because he's
Yeah, it'll be like the early third. He'll like probably
you
swap
know
places with AJ Brown. So AJ
yeah
Brown's
maybe
going like right here, right? Like AJ Brown's going at like the 303. Like keep in mind this is super flex. So there's like 14 quarterbacks are going to go ahead of them, right?
yeah.
Um, and that's not fair. It's like it's kind of fair. In fact, I think Marvin Harrison might go a little bit later, right? Like I can see Drake London and Amon Ross St. Brown taking over. So the guys to answer Joe King's question about guys who are cratering, I do think Brandon Ayuk is an easy crater candidate. Um, Michael Pittman's probably a good crater candidate. Tank Dell is definitely going to be cratering. Xavier Worthy is definitely cratering. Lad McConkey might also be cratering a little bit. Debo Samuel is definitely done.
I think McConkey has kind of
Do you think he'd hold value?
outperformed some of
Yeah,
at
but
least a lot of people's expectations. I think
I was
McConkey's value
I
will
was
be
kind of
okay.
expecting this out of him. I was kind of expecting this out of him.
Baltimore is actually a pretty good matchup for wide receivers, so I
Yeah,
expect he'll have a good game tomorrow.
I do too. But like, you don't think that the Chargers are going to actually go out and get someone good, or like, not someone good, but someone else as well?
Yeah, they might, but I think
Um,
McConkey's value will hold. I think Harrison's value will also hold pretty
I think his
well.
value will hold.
I expect he'll be a second round pick next year.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not hating on Harrison. I'm going to
Yeah.
be in on him next season.
No Diggs next year, right?
No,
Where's
like,
Diggs? Where does he fall to? Is he like
oh man, he's cooked.
double digit rounds or even
He's
later?
cooked. Yeah, definitely double digit rounds. He's cooked. Another guy who's definitely cooked, probably Debo Samuel here is definitely cooked. Christian Kirk cooked. Marquise Brown cooked. Amari Cooper cooked. Christian Watson absolutely cooked.
Yeah, Diggs was already an 8th round pick coming into the
Yeah,
season, and obviously
truly
there
cooked. He's
was
cooked, dude. He's gonna go in the 14th.
some of that was uncertainty about his situation, probably.
Yeah, but he's
But
cooked.
yeah, coming off the injury, can't expect. Man,
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson going in the 13th. What were we thinking?
What team was he on?
He was traded in like March or April, wasn't he?
Yeah, but like I'm still
So
like confused. So,
this was Eagles.
yeah, so I'm still like
Eagles ADP.
confused. I'm still confused about this Dobbs pricing, right? Because like Christian Watson, whatever, Cortland Sutton's too low as well. But yeah, just like sticking with like the top 7 rounds, like yeah, definitely cooked. Or I also would say like Devonta Smith's probably a little cooked too.
Hey, here's a question.
Chris
Speaking
Olave
of the
maybe.
7th, Bo Nix
Mhm.
is in the 7th. Has he done enough to move up into
Yeah.
like the tail end of the first round?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about him. He probably like ends. He probably ends. He probably starts off this in the 3rd round, right? Like, no, it won't be Dak. It'd be Bo Nix.
Hmm.
Right? Like he'd be here, in my opinion.
You don't think he's quite at the first round level?
No, not yet. I mean, that's the other thing is that there are some there are some good skill players, man.
That's true. I know
Like
we talked about this game already, but what was his final stat line today?
Devonta, Debo,
273 and
Waddle
2
hurt more
touchdowns.
teams than the injured guys. Yeah, joking. I'm with you, dude. Debo absolutely stabbed us in the face. Devonta stabbed us in the face. Waddle at least made up for it. He's trying to make up for it, right? His dynasty ADP, I think, will hold. I think his redraft ADP will create it. This is dynasty that we're talking about.
Yeah, a lot of big shakeups in Dynasty for sure,
Yep.
and some of our favorite guys moving up. I was just looking at the Broncos game again to try and get that Knicks stat line, seeing Marvin Mims with
Oh,
44 receiving yards. That's
that's
something,
right.
right? How far does he move?
Not very far, man.
Troy
Not very
Franklin
far.
caught all
Not very
of his
far.
targets.
Not very far.
2
Waddle was
touchdowns.
awesome today. Yeah,
Oh
so
wait, no,
funny
he
that
didn't. He
John.
had 4 targets. Never mind.
Yeah, Greg, I'm with you, man. Waddle was awesome today. Like, it's just really annoying that Johnu. Like, I think Johnu.
John getting the Tyreek role.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, we discussed this like at the top of the show. So we love it if you guys go back and we listen. Tyreek is haunting my best ball dreams, bro. My best ball dreams are turning into nightmares. We're just once every 8 years or so you'll have like a season like this, and that's fine. But
I feel like I had this season last year too.
I had this season. Last time I had this season was like I think my second year playing best ball, and that was like ever since then I've been on like kind of like free rolling, and so now it's like I gotta pay the piper.
You sure it's not once every 8 years you have a good season and the other 7 are this kind of season? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I mean every year, dude. At the end of the year, you just gotta like look and see whether or not you can buy your kid Christmas gifts, and if you can, you're doing all right. If you can't, well then you gotta go send them to the coal mine.
There you go.
All the olds at RB stay healthy and score 3 TDs per game. Yeah, Saquon not that old, but the other ones, yep, for sure. Anything else, Blair, before we close out?
I don't think so. I think we're touched on everything. We didn't have a huge injury day today, which was
except
nice.
Except for Minshew.
Except for Minshew, right? Which maybe it will end up
and then
being
David
a net
Montgomery,
positive for our
fine.
fantasy teams, but
yeah, I mean, Montgomery seems fine.
Never want to see that, but yeah. So hopefully everyone's team stayed relatively healthy. Having a lot of players on bye always helps with that.
Hey, and hopefully everyone who's listening is doing better than us in the FFPC. Please, and I love it.
Not to.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my goodness, Puka almost had this insane catch. If you guys are doing well in your teams, especially if you're making the playoffs, tweet us on either Blue Sky or on Twitter. I would love to celebrate your teams with you and just try and get like a cheap third hand sweat as you guys are getting that FFPC. It's coming to an end, man. It all went so quickly. I played McMillan, Elijah, and Brute in one lineup. Ask me anything. Is your team scoring more or less than 80 points right now?
Yeah, that sounds.
That is the question.
But it could be just fine compared to. I mean, how bad it could be.
Yeah, I know.
Seen some of our teams.
I know. He's gonna win.
Nice. Well, that's awesome.
Sometimes, he's in a must win, and he's gonna win. Awesome. Sometimes when you're good, man.
There you go.
112 points. He's better than us.
I would love 112 right now.
And you want to know what guys on our team include Jaden Reed, George Pickens, David Njoku, Jordan Addison, Jamar Chase. We did not play Jamar Chase, who is on bye.
Yeah, we're not that
dumb. We're dumb, but we're not that dumb.
We're not dumb enough to play a player who's on bye. We are dumb enough to leave a player in who's injured.
I'm gonna share this because it might as well. Why not? Right? So
yeah.
But here you can see our RotoViz report team with Geno Smith, Gus Edwards, Ramondre Stevenson, George Pickens, Puka Nacua, Brock Bowers, Jaden Reed, David Njoku, Justin Tucker.
Man, we just
Houston defense.
Houston defense was good.
Yeah, and then you look at the bench, Malik Neighbors, Jordan Addison. Sometimes you're just a bunch of donkeys, man.
In retrospect, it was stupid to not play Hawkinson over Njoku, but
that was
not even in retrospect. We should have known that was.
We should have just done that. Yeah.
In any case,
that's just the way it goes.
You nailed it. Right. If you're trying to put the lowest scoring team on the field, we've got you.
Yeah. I mean, this team, we were the highest scoring team for a while. We had a chance.
This our season kind of what even is the word? It just went awry.
Does Cade Storver
It hasn't been a good
It
season
has.
for Ave
It's
Maria this
yeah.
year.
It's
That's
been
for
it's been a
sure.
tough year. Does Cade Stover have a 10% chance to be the number 2 next year? Oh my god, man! I
10% chance to be the number two, like number two
number 2 end or just like the
tight
number 2
end.
receiver. I think she means number 2 receiver. I think I'm gonna go with the number 2 receiver.
In
I
Houston?
sat Sutton
Yeah.
today. That was cool. Yeah, Greg. I did not sit Sutton, so I was really happy. And I did not bench either Sutton or Waddle. I don't know how good those teams you got there are where you could actually bench them. Yeah, so Joanna, that's what I thought you were going with the receiving option. I do think Cade Stover is 100% worth holding. Like he's a phenomenal, like just a really sexy dynasty asset right now in like my eyes. And I do think you could actually, I don't know what you'd pay to get him, but yeah, I think out of like after Brock Bowers in this class, I want Jadavian Sanders, and then after Jadavian Sanders, I want Kate Stover from the tight ends in this class. Like
Yeah.
I have no interest in Theo Johnson. I have no interest in who are the tight ends in this class.
Eric All was one who
Eric
started
All,
to
like
look promising, but
I think I
that
would
injury.
prefer. I would absolutely prefer. Hang on, I'm going. It's I think I would yeah. So like in by Dynasty ADP, it was Brock Bowers
Not right.
obviously.
Oh
Then
man.
Sinat, I do not want Sinat. I would prefer Sanders over him. Yeah, Stover was going after Theo Johnson and Eric All, so I would prefer Stover to both of those guys.
Yeah, I agree. I still would prefer Sanders, like you said, but other than that,
Sinat and Theo, yeah, I have no interest in those guys. Like joking, like Sinat and Theo, like the thing with like Theo Johnson is that like they still prefer guys like Darius Slayton and Wandale Robinson to Theo Johnson. And
I
also, like,
mean,
why would you?
Johnson got 6 targets today. I think he's pretty interesting.
I think I would prefer Stover to him, dude.
Maybe.
Like Stover's
That one's
been
closer.
efficient when getting the ball, dude. And he actually like presents and he actually gives them like a big body in the red zone.
He also doesn't play for the Giants.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is madly in love with Zach Ertz. Yeah, I know he really is, dude. Like it's like we're just watching like vintage Cliff, and like you gotta laugh at it or you're gonna cry, dude. Because like Cliff, man, God, I hate him so much. Like
well, I don't know. Maybe the offense
Sinat will
wasn't the
never.
problem today.
Yeah,
But
no. So
had to
Sinat will
lose to
never
the
see the
Cowboys
field.
without
No,
that.
so Greg, so like Sinat will see the field, but only because he's standing on the sideline with his helmet off. Can he see the field? And we knew that. Totally ignored it until like in the ignored season. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we all knew it. We knew it was coming. Sinat is actually a good, exciting receiving option. It's just we're not going to see it. And I just really want. I don't know, man. Like I want all the pieces of that Bears offense next year when they start like actually playing good football, a horizontal raid, right? So or the despair raid, as I like to call it. So
John Bates had a target today.
oh God, man, that's a name that takes me back.
He caught it and then fumbled, lost the fumble. So maybe he's now in the doghouse, and that's a Sinat target next week.
Historical anomalies. Bears are so bad at hiring coaches. They're going to bring in Cliff to reunite with Caleb, and the Bears will lose the next 20 to the Packers. You know, like the one thing that I will say about like the whole thing about like this Twitter like no longer really working as well as it used to is back in the day when like Kingsbury was like failing at his job, I used to get so many more angry posts my way. And now they're all gone. I know people are still pissed at Cliff Kingsbury. They just can't find me as Cliff Kingsbury. I miss it, man. You know how sad it is that I cannot like commiserate with these fans who are like mad at Cliff Kingsbury. I feel like I'm out of touch with like the common NFL hate for Kingsbury now, you know?
Yeah. Gotta get back in there.
I can't do anything. I don't work for Twitter or X or right? Like I'm just not getting the posts anymore.
Yeah. Do you have the Cliff handle on Blue Sky?
Yeah. Well,
We'll bring the hate over there.
I would hope so, but no one seems to be doing that over there yet.
It's too friendly still.
It's too friendly. We need the rage, dude. We need the rage.
Yeah, it'll get there.
It'll get there.
All right. Long show today, but Yeah. Anything else we need to cover? I hope not.
No. Best of luck to everybody in week 12. Enjoy your turkeys and enjoy the Thanksgiving slate. We'll be back next Sunday. I heard a stat about Cliff offenses being substantially worse. You are not making that up, Greg. That is actually very true, and we are seeing that play out. Yeah, joking. Good game. We will enjoy your Thanksgiving, everyone. We appreciate you all. Thank you for hanging out.
Yep. And remember to do all the YouTube podcast stuff. Subscribe, like, thumbs up, comment, rate, and review. That helps us out with all of our algorithms and stuff. So gotta keep a handle on those algorithms. Can't let them get out of hand. All right. And with that, we'll talk at you next week.